Okay, Shalom Alaikum, everyone. This is Cell89. This is the video response going out to October 31st and his response to Only the Scriptures. October 31st. You commented on Only the Scriptures user name, and you accused him of not going by the Bible alone because he's Pentecostal, because he believes in tongues and dreams and visions and prophecy, even though you just evidently you forget that the Bible mentions tongues, so don't know what the problem is there, and it mentions prophecy, and it mentions dreams and visions. I guess it doesn't matter. At least to you, I suppose, but in Acts 2, let's go by the Bible alone, shall we? Um, in Acts chapter 2, the day of Pentecost had occurred, and they all began to do something that the Southern Baptist Convention would frown upon and would hate, because what did they do? They spoke in tongues. But even the fact that their very office was that of the apostles, the Southern Baptists would condemn them for it as well. So, oops. I guess that doesn't matter. If it don't. But in defense of it, here's what Peter said. And Peter, standing up with the 11, lifted up his voice and said to them, "You men of Judea, and all you that are staying in Jerusalem, be this known to you, and listen to my words. For these men are not drunk, as you suppose, seeing it is but 9 o'clock, it is but the third hour of the day. But this is that which was spoken by the prophet Joel." And then he began to quote Joel with one change. "And it shall come to pass in the latter days, said Jehovah, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams." What Peter changed was, he said, "in the last days." Joel didn't say that. Joel said that this shall happen afterwards. After what? You'd have to go read Joel to find that out, but he uses the language that is specifically for those in the latter days. And I guess that's why when Peter quotes it, he changes the word from afterward to last days, because he knows what it meant. And Peter thus says that in the last days, prophecy shall occur, dreams and visions shall happen. Evidently, God will always continue to speak, especially in the last days, but never mind Peter, because he doesn't matter, because he's not your God named Paul. But let's go to Paul and see what Paul said in Ephesians 4:11 through 13. He said, "And he gave some apostles and some prophets and some evangelists and some preachers and some teachers for the perfecting of the saints, for the service of good works, and for the rebuilding of the body of Mashiach, until we all come into the unity of faith and the full knowledge of the Son of God, into a mature and perfect man, according to the same measure and the same stature of the fullness of Mashiach himself was. Excuse me, but that seems to tell us that the gifts of the prophets and the office of the prophets and apostles are still here as long as the other gifts, the other offices are still continuing, but until we all come to the unity of the faith, until we are a perfect and mature man. So, that seems to be what it's saying. It is you, October 31st, that are not sola scriptura. You do not go by the scripture alone, because you go by the tradition of your church, and said that God doesn't speak anymore. So, at least that seems to be what you're saying, even though that's not the Bible. The Bible says that he does speak. And even more so, if you're really going to condemn the Pentecostals, you should condemn yourself if you go to church and you listen to a preacher preach. Because that itself is a form of communication from God to you. And it's not you reading the Bible, per se. Maybe God still does speak and you Baptists know it, but you don't like the Pentecostals figuring that out. Maybe, I don't know. In Revelation 22:18, you quoted this in against the Pentecostals. For I testify to every man, they hear the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add to these things, God shall add to him the plagues that are written in this book. October 31st. That verse does not support sola scriptura. Matter of fact, if we're really going to really do it and apply it to the whole Bible, you should tear everything out from your Bible and leave only the book of Revelation, because that's what that verse is applied to. It's the whole verse is about the revelation, the Giliana of Yehoshua Mashiach, the revelation of Yeshua the Messiah. It's not to the whole Bible. When it says don't add to the plague, do not add to the book of the prophecy, or the prophecies of this book, it's talking about the book of Revelation, not the canon that a council picked. I'm going to make another video, another respond to your other points as well. But I did want to get that one out of the way. I know that 8 minutes so long here, but that's because I had to comment on the sola scriptura argument. Mic is free. I mean, sorry, I'm used to saying that on Pal Talk, so shalom.